The story kicks off with a genius-level computer was named James, who's studying at MIT and spends every waking hour buried in code. He's obsessed with cryptography. Not the usual math puzzles, but the kind of non-linear encryption that could stump even the best hackers alive. Together with a few of his equally nerdy classmates, he builds a wild piece of software they call Spartacus. This program isn't just another geeky project. It can literally tap into the audio and video hardware of any computer that's online and sync them all to one master system. Basically, total remote surveillance control. When they finally show it off at a tech fair on campus, it's like fireworks. The software immediately grabs the attention of some big names from Dell, who seem eager to talk business. For James, this feels like the golden ticket: recognition, career prospects, and a chance to finally make a mark in the tech world. But behind his calm exterior, James is haunted by something deeper. His father vanished under strange circumstances when he was still a kid. That mystery became the kind of obsession that gnaws at you in the quiet hours. Whenever he's not coding, he's scouring every online archive he can find, chasing even the faintest lead about what happened to his dad. At a university career fair, James gives a live demo of Spartacus to a Dell recruiter, showing off his smooth confidence and insane programming chops. It's clear he's not just another tech student. This guy is next level. Afterward, he heads to his night job bartending, where something unexpected happens. While mixing drinks, James spots a guy from earlier, an older man who had been watching him at the fair. The man introduces himself as Walter Burke, and after some casual small talk, he drops the bomb. He's with the CIA. At first, James laughs it off. He's got zero interest in spy games. But then Walter says something that freezes him. He casually mentions James's father. Somehow, this stranger knows about his dad's disappearance. That one line is enough to flip James's curiosity switch. He rushes outside before Walter leaves and presses him for answers. Walter doesn't give much away, but he offers James something better, a chance to find the truth if he joins the agency. It's the kind of bait James can't resist. Fast forward a bit, and James is sitting inside CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, going through the toughest job interview imaginable. Written tests, psych evaluations, lie detectors, the whole works. That's where he meets Layla, another recruit who's just as sharp as he is. After they both pass the initial screening, they and the rest of the candidates are bussed off to a top-secret training ground the CIA calls the Farm. Once there, Walter gives them a reality check about what's coming. He talks about patriotism, loyalty, and the moral gray zones that come with spy life. He makes it clear that being an agent isn't glamorous. It's about control, patience, and surviving deception. Then the training begins. Life at the farm is no joke. The recruits are drilled non-stop: surveillance, weapons training, hand-to-hand combat, high-speed driving, and psychological warfare. James, of course, stands out. He's quick, smart, and fearless. The kind of recruit everyone notices. In one crazy exercise that goes wrong, he literally crashes through a glass window to complete the mission. It's reckless but bold, and it earns him respect from everyone, including Walter. Walter also teaches them subtle spy tricks, like how to fake calmness during a polygraph by controlling heart rate and eye movement. He reminds them that being a CIA operative is as much about psychological control as it is about field skills. One night, the male recruits get a fun assignment. Go to a bar and practice their persuasion skills by striking up conversations with strangers. James is doing fine, chatting up a woman, when he notices Layla alone, looking miserable. She seems drunk and upset, telling him she's been kicked out of the program. Feeling bad, James goes over to comfort her. They talk, flirt, and she convinces him to step outside for some air. That's when he realizes he's been played. Layla wasn't kicked out at all. She was on her own covert mission, and the whole sad girl act was a setup to distract him. The next morning, James gets his revenge. During a polygraph training session, he gets to ask the questions this time. Calmly, he puts Layla in a hot seat, throwing in a personal one. "You said we had chemistry last night, do we?" She denies it, but the machine beeps truth. Everyone in the room catches it. Touché. Days later, they're assigned to work together again, this time in a field exercise on counter-surveillance. But this task takes a dark turn. Out of nowhere, both of them are ambushed, hooded, and shoved into a van. When the hoods come off, they're locked in grim, concrete cells somewhere that looks like a foreign black site. James is tortured, interrogated, starved, and threatened. His captors demand information about the farm, the instructors, everything. The pain and exhaustion break down his mental defenses, but he still holds strong until they tell him Layla is suffering because of his silence. That psychological trick crushes him. In a burst of panic and desperation, he screams out Walter's name. Then silence. A moment later, the back wall of his cell lifts up and bright lights flood in. Behind the glass, the other recruits are standing there, watching him. The entire thing was staged. It wasn't real captivity, it was a test. Every reaction, every word, every flicker of emotion had been monitored. Layla is there too, looking conflicted, part sympathy, part disappointment. Walter steps in and gives James the cold truth. In the spy world, the second you let yourself be captured, you've already failed. It's not about enduring pain. It's about never getting caught in the first place. That night hits James like a truck. Out of nowhere, he gets the message that he's been kicked out of the CIA training program. No warning, no second chances, just gone. The news wrecks him. All that time, all the pressure, all the sacrifices for what? Feeling totally crushed, he grabs a cheap motel room, cracks open a bottle, and tries to drown the whole mess in alcohol. It's that type of night where you don't even taste what you're drinking. Somewhere between angry and half-conscious, he ends up calling the Dell recruiter, the same guy who once offered him a promising tech career, just to ask if there's still a job waiting for him. Morning rolls around, and James wakes up to find someone standing in his room. It's Walter Burke, calm as ever, like he just materialized out of thin air. Turns out, Walter tracked him down without breaking sweat. James, still groggy, can barely process it. Walter sits down and drops another twist. James didn't fail. In fact, he lasted longer under interrogation than anyone the agency had seen in 15 years. The expulsion was nothing but an act, a test. Walter explains that this was all part of a secret plan. James is being offered something bigger, a role as a non-official cover operative, the kind of spy who works deep undercover without any diplomatic protection. No fancy badge, no official record, just danger and deniability. Walter says the CIA needs someone who can move through shadows, someone who's smart but unpredictable. James fits the bill. Then Walter adds another bombshell. Layla, the woman James grew close to at the farm, isn't what she seems. According to him, she's secretly working for a foreign intelligence agency trying to steal a top-secret computer virus from the US government. The virus isn't just ordinary malware. It's designed to infiltrate the entire national power grid through something as simple as plugging into an outlet. If it falls into the wrong hands, the entire country could go dark. Driven by equal parts curiosity and betrayal, James agrees to the mission. He reconnects with Layla, who's now working as a junior data analyst at the CIA. At first, it's casual. Coffee here, small talk there, until they start falling back into the chemistry they once had. During one of these meetings, while pretending to help her debug some code, James slips a tiny listening device under her shirt collar. He's officially spying on her now. As days go by, they get close again, dinners, late nights, and eventually he spends the night at her apartment. When she falls asleep, James sneaks over to her laptop and starts digging. His hands shake as he uncovers fragments of the supposed virus. Before he can piece it together, Layla wakes up and spots him at her computer. She doesn't react. Not yet. She just watches him quietly, waiting until he's gone to check what he was really looking at. To her surprise, he wasn't only snooping through her files. He was also searching for information about his missing father. Later, James reports back to Walter, who gives him the green light to dig deeper. Disguised as a delivery driver, he sneaks into the CIA building after hours to check Layla's workstation. It's a risky move. One wrong step and he's finished. But he pulls it off and finds out Layla's method. She's been sneaking pieces of the virus out of the building using a hidden USB drive tucked in the false bottom of her coffee mug. It's brilliant and terrifying. The next morning, things get even stranger. James spots Layla attaching a tracking bug to his jacket before he leaves her apartment. Smoothly, he peels it off outside and sticks it to a stray dog wandering nearby, then hides behind a car, watching her reaction. She's trying to monitor him, and now he knows it. James tails her through the city until she stops at a train station, where she quietly passes a folded note to someone in a hood. Suspicion kicks in hard. James follows the hooded figure through the tunnels below, but the man turns on him. They struggle viciously, wrestling for the gun, and in the chaos, James fires. The shot echoes. The stranger collapses. When James pulls back the hood, horror floods his face. It's Zach, one of his classmates from CIA training. Panicked, James searches Zach's body and finds the note. It's cryptic, but clear enough to tell him that his own cover might be blown. With adrenaline pounding, he jumps in his car, tracks down Layla's vehicle on the highway, and forces her to stop. When he confronts her, he's furious and desperate. Gun aimed at her chest, he grabs her mug, rips off the bottom, and pulls out the USB. Layla stays calm and tells him to feel her pulse while she explains everything. She insists that she and Zach were on a sanctioned CIA mission to test internal security. The virus was fake, just a decoy. James doesn't buy it. He warns her to run for her life, convinced someone's double-crossing both of them. Later, unable to shake the doubt, James plugs the USB into his laptop. What he finds freezes him. The program isn't fake. It's a real virus, live code capable of doing real damage. Everything Walter told him about Layla being a spy might actually be true. Heart racing, James calls Layla to warn her and tells her goodbye, not knowing who's lying anymore. Still desperate for answers, James storms into Walter's office and demands the truth, gun in hand. Walter doesn't even flinch. Instead, he praises James, calling this confrontation the final test. He says the virus never existed, that Zach's alive, and that the entire operation, every terrifying moment, was a setup to test James's loyalty. James hesitates, unsure what to believe. Walter then takes it one step further. He challenges James to shoot him, saying the gun's loaded with blanks. James hesitates, and in that moment Walter disarms him, pulls the trigger himself, and the bullet smashes through a nearby car window. Real bullet, real danger. Realizing Walter's gone rogue, James bolts into an abandoned warehouse. Walter follows, shouting, waving the gun, ranting like a man who's finally cracked. As he prowls through the shadows, he confesses everything. He planned a whole deception to steal the real virus himself and frame James as the traitor. Even the story about James's father was a lie, something he made up to manipulate him. Feeling trapped, but thinking fast, James pretends to give up. He offers Walter the laptop, pretending it contains the virus. Walter snatches it without realizing it's running Spartacus, James's surveillance program. The whole time, Walter's confession is being broadcast live straight to CIA headquarters. When Walter finally realizes it's a setup, it's too late. He storms outside, screaming about betrayal, just as a CIA tactical team surround the area. Ironically, Walter believes they're there to arrest James for Zach's murder, but the truth is already out. Walter's ranting incriminates him completely. He pulls his gun, bad move, and the agent's taken down. Afterward, James stands there, exhausted but vindicated. Layla approaches quietly and rests a hand on his shoulder as they drive toward Langley for his debriefing. Another CIA agent leans over and says something that makes James pause, a subtle hint that his father really was CIA, after all. Maybe the old man didn't vanish. Maybe he was just never supposed to be found. So ends The Recruit, a tangled web of deception, loyalty, and the thin line between truth and illusion.